Hey guys, Jfarr here, and Rust is no longer a game where you can build a big base and never get raided. There is always a big clan or group of people who will come and manage to raid you, but I have a solution that makes it so the raiders think they have raided you, but were in fact completely fooled. This base design was created by SANDR and I, and it might have been created elsewhere, but we were the ones to think of this design, and we've gone through a lot of eras of the design and tweaked it and made it better, and we have the final product for you guys, which we think will be the best for protecting your hidden loot. The whole design for this base is to be underground. When you're raiding a base, you don't expect to be looking at the foundations to be thinking, is there loot down there? But rather looking up and saying, how far left do we have until we reach the loot? We have to play with people's minds here, and we have to make the illusion that the loot is hidden upstairs. We want them to avoid as much as we can downstairs. Thanks to SANDR, we have a time-lapse of the base being built so you can understand how it's built from a bird's eye view. We'll go through the time-lapse first to understand how the base is built, and then we'll talk about it more in detail after the time-lapse. Now you've seen the bird's eye view of the build, we can get more in depth with a first person view build of the house, and I can tell you how to build it and why we are doing some things. You want to first place your foundation on a nice low piece of land where you'll be able to fit at least a 2x2 or a 2x3 in there, which is what was done in the video. This can be harder than it seems to actually find, and even if you do find it, you have to be able to place foundations surrounding that building. The trick to this is placing 2 foundation steps up, which creates the whole foundation length, so you'll be actually able to have an underground base. Once you've got the height of the foundation right, and you're able to surround your base with the foundations, you are set to build the rest of your base. You also must make sure you have the resources before building this base. If you just leave this base wooden or twig, it will be vulnerable and everyone can see there's an underground part of the base. They can just walk right through the foundations. So you must make sure it is stone. Another reason for stone is because people can't see through stone. It is a solid wall. so no matter if they try looking through it, and all they'll be able to see is the stones covering the foundation. Now in this build we did a 2x3, and it is optional to have more space for the underground compartment, but in this video I only made the underground available as a 2x2, but you can also have the other two foundations used for maybe more chests or furnaces, but in this video I made it simpler and just made a 2x2 underground. You now want to make sure you have a ladder on hand so you're not stuck inside your underground base. And make sure to place it to the very left of the wall, because you'll be able to keep this ladder there and be able to build around it. This ladder will be your access point for coming up and down from your underground base. Now once you have all the ceilings down and the ladder on, you can now make your fake tool cupboard room, which will hopefully trick people into thinking it's a tool cupboard room instead of actually being your access point underground. You want to start by walling it off and putting a doorway and placing a triangle ceiling down. Next you want to upgrade this whole room to sheet metal. This will give the illusion because you have to place a sheet metal door in there, and it will hide the sheet metal door to make them think it is just a part of the walls. You also want to make sure you place the ceiling first, because once you have the walls and doorway with the triangle ceiling, it will not be able to place. And once you've got your double doorways down and have the room sheet metal, you want to place the tool cupboard as close as you can to the doorway. This will hide the rest of it and try and hide that doorway which you don't want them to see. You also must make sure to place a sheet metal door down. This will encourage people to raid from the front, from where we want them to come in if they are going to try and get the tool cupboard, which we don't want them to, but if they are going to raid the tool cupboard, we want them coming from the doorway. This is why we leave the whole bottom room open, so the raiders have free exploration and can see where they want to hit the room. If they are going to go through, it would be stupid not to go through the 1C4 door. And if they do manage to blow into that door, hopefully they are disguised by that tool cupboard and just get that tool cupboard's access and wander off. It's also optional to decorate the bottom floor as you wish. You can have furnaces, dump crates, you can have anything you want. Just make the illusion like there's really nothing there apart from the tool cupboard, and there's no reason to blow into that tool cupboard. This is where we come on to the next part. Most of the time when people are raiding, they're raiding with a friend or a couple of friends, and we make it really easy for them to boost onto the roof. Now probably no one's ever said that before in Rust, but I have. We want them to get on our roof and we want them to raid down. This is why we will make it very easy for them at the front of the base to boost up and get on the top of the roof. From there we'll only have windows with shutters, no bars, so they can easily hop in the windows and go down into the house. There will be no doors, no airlocks to stop them. We want to encourage them to get in to the base. Once they are in the third floor, the really only option they can do is go through a sheet metal door. And this sheet metal door will lead them into the loot room, which is fake obviously. There will be 4 doors in the loot room, and you can make it sheet metal or armored, whatever resources you have at the time, but make it look like a loot room. Once they are in there, it will be irresistible to blow into one of those doors, which looks like it contains a bunch of loot. And guess what? It actually will have a loot room in all 4 of the rooms. This is because we want to trick the raiders to blow in there and actually get loot. We'll put dud loot in there, like the loot you'll never use, like you'll maybe have a row of stones, a row of wood, just loot that you're going to put aside and say, this loot is dedicated to helping me not get raided. Just think of that loot as lost loot. It's going to be gone if they're going to raid it, and you're not going to touch that loot. That loot's there to help create the illusion. So you can even have a few guns in there, a few pistols, stuff that you're never going to use, and just keep it there for if they do blow in, they may think they have the loot. And what's the reason of going down another level and getting the tool cupboard if they've got the loot? Once they have the loot, they're going to want to get out of there as soon as possible, because there was just a lot of explosions raiding this base and they've just got the base's loot. They're going to run, and they're going to go back up to the roof, come down those ceilings and just run away. And guess what? You're still in that underground base, hiding away with all your LRs, C4 rockets, and laughing at them. But not everyone will raid like this, and maybe even a solo will come along where he can't boost up. This is why we'll make him raid through the first level, and once he's in the first level, he won't really need the tool cupboard because there'll be a stairway which will lead right up to the loot room, where he can blow through one door and he's in the whole entire loot room. We want to make this base as easy as possible to get to the second floor, so there's no reason for him to get the tool cupboard. we are trying to avoid them from even going near that tool cupboard room. If they blow through one of the sides of the tool cupboard, then it's game over, they know there's an underground. But it's not all over yet, they still have to use even more C4 to go through the maze of the underground base to get to your loot. It would be ridiculous to blow through one of the side walls when you've got a sheet metal door there that only cost 1 C4. And remember, in the video I haven't placed all these decorations or other options that you can do, but you can always do other things in loot rooms or the third story, which has nothing in the video. You can place a windows in there, you can place a repair bench, but try and make it look like the second room is the loot room. You don't want to try and break the illusion that we want them to get there, to blow in those doors, get the loot and run. That is what we want, and you'll be sitting there still with all your loot for the rest of the wipe. This base may be harsh on resources if you are alone on Rust and trying to build this yourself, but it is very doable, and once you do have it up and if you are alone, it'll be a very spacious base. But this base is directed towards more of groups of people that are sick of getting raided no matter what they build, because Rust, no matter what you build, there's always going to be a clan of 10 to 20 people that will come around with hundreds of C4 and rockets and obviously raid you, and it is frustrating because not everyone is in a massive clan or wants to be in a massive clan, and no matter if you exploit in the game to make it the double walls or do anything, you're going to get raided eventually. Now this underground design can be incorporated in a lot of base designs. You can have an even bigger base than this, you can have an even smaller base than this, but it's up to you what you want to do. Just make sure you are always creating the illusion that loot is up, not down. And you may also be thinking if there is enough room in the underground to fit all your juicy loot, and yes, there is quite a lot of space, and in this base it was possible to have a 3x2 underground, but I only did a 2x2, and you can still fit a lot of chests. In one room, which you'll be putting the main loot in, you can fit 5 big chests by having a shelf and having one on the floor, and you'll be able to have a second room with more crates where you'll be able to fit at least 2 big crates and 2 small crates. So you're able to have a lot of loot rooms in your underground base, and you can even have more if you incorporate the other 2 foundations which are left out. The way the underground's designed is really up to you. You can follow the way we did it, or you can create your own and make it the way you want it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe.